made a strategic investment before all the Caitlyn and the Angel stuff.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy, has it paid off in a really cool way. All right, Keisha, we're here. We're in France.
David, we made it.
We were joking earlier about all the titles that you hold at Scripps, call SVP or CMO or GM. How would you describe it?
Like you said before, the GOAT.
Yeah,
the
there
GOAT.
you go.
All of the above.
all the
So
things.
I run our networks division. I run marketing for the Scripps enterprise and research programming. So it's a little bit of everything. It's a mixed bag.
Let me start with this. I have a compliment and I have a question. So
Okay.
the compliment is your aura, your energy. Like, I just feel like everybody I talk to that knows you loves you. And there's got to be a strategic approach to that. Just the way you build relationships, the way that you interact with people, whether they're the president or they're the intern. I feel like you approach life and approach relationships in a very, very inspirational way. So I wanted to compliment you, but
Thank
then
you.
just ask you how we all can learn from the way you move out there in the space.
You know, I think it's a lot about my upbringing. My dad was, he's a retired elementary school principal. And
Very patient, I'm sure.
very patient, but
Yeah.
very much caring. And it didn't matter whether you were the janitor or if you were a teacher or a parent, the way that he engaged with everyone, including the students, was so authentic.
You could tell,
and because
yeah.
he really cared about them and their best interests. And I think that's translated into my career. And so when you really care about people and you care about the work, I think it just naturally shows up.
And you have empathy for anybody, whoever they may be. That's awesome.
I don't think you can be a marketer without having
That's
empathy.
true.
You have to have empathy in this industry or you're not doing it right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to selfishly talk about the WNBA. Obviously, you guys
Yes.
had a big announcement recently,
Yes, we did.
continuing your Friday nights on Ion.
Yes.
But talk to me through, because you and I talked about this too. Like, Brian made a strategic investment before all the Caitlyn and the Angel stuff.
Yes.
And
Yes.
boy, oh boy, has it paid off in a really cool way. So how's that ride been?
It has been an amazing ride. So Brian Lawler is the president of Scripps Sports. He is a tremendous businessman. And before everyone else was in the space, we were doing a white space analysis.
Yeah.
How do we continue to move the business forward? What are we missing in our business? And we recognized that it was sports. But we didn't want to go to a place that was already extraordinarily saturated. We wanted to go in a place where we could grow with the sport, and women's sports continue to resonate. And when I thought about our audience and the fact that we had such a heavy female audience, I thought this could be great. It has paid off in dividends. And I'm so thankful that we invested when we did, 4 or 5 years ago, really starting to put a line in the sand to be here today. It's been tremendous. The ride has been
I'll
tremendous.
never forget the call that you, the dark of the night, like, hey, we're going live essentially in a week. So we need branding and packages. Like, we don't even have lower thirds yet. And you got the call from the top, like, yo, this is happening. And you your marketing team had the roll.
Oh, we had to move in 6 weeks, which is why I called you. And like week number 3, I'm like, David, shout out to
Exactly how you said.
SDN.
Yeah,
Shout out to
David.
SDN. I called David and I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
we need help. And we
Yesterday,
did.
yeah.
We didn't have the expertise in-house. We've been able to build it and partner with you all to help us really get really to substantiate ourselves as early movers in the space. But it has been crazy to see how fast we pulled it off. And then to announce now that we've entered into another multi-year deal with the WNBA last week, couldn't be sweeter.
And to show up authentic, you see this with like Amazon and Netflix and all these new like streamers, Apple, they're getting into sports, but they still want to make sure they show up authentic in this culture, like in these circles.
Yeah.
Because a new rights holder can be like, you're coming into our circle and you don't even know what you're talking about, or you're not, speaking the language, which is so important too.
That's right.
I wanted to geek out over Caitlin Clark because she was obviously injured there for a while as we record this. She comes back, has, I think, 3 3-pointers in 38 seconds. She drops 30 points pretty much in 3 quarters. And I don't know. I mean, I've grown up as a diehard sports fan, and I think MJ, I think Tiger, I think Steph, I think Kobe, like generational superstars that you can't take your eye off the TV because you may miss something that's never happened before ever. And I just would love to hear your thought as a marketer's dream, how you look at her and what she's able to do for the game and for marketing, right?
Listen, we hit the jackpot with Caitlin. And we were really proud that last year Ion had the most Indiana games. And so
that was just happenstance,
That was happenstance that we got so many fever games. But I I lied to you not. Every Fever game that we got averaged over 1 million in our audience. And we had never seen these numbers. And we'd been with the league for, at that point, 2 years. And so really being able to see that type of explosive growth was amazing. But also having a rookie class with Caitlin really as a star helped to elevate our brands. And the rest of that rookie class, when you think about who came in last year, it was amazing. And to see that and to also see the payoff from a viewing and rating standpoint, it's just been tremendous. And she carries herself so extraordinarily well. All of those young women do. And that's a gift because you don't always get that.
Did you know I have a newsletter? Yes, every month I drop insights, best practices, resources, some of the top content performing on social media. If you're interested in signing up, it's stndigital.com/DB. That's stndigital.com/DB. Join the newsletter and get all the value. Now back to the show. Yeah, and if you ask me, ask anybody, who is the most famous basketball player under 30 in the world?
Oh, it's her.
It's a female, and it's Caitlin Clark,
it's her.
right?
It's her.
And you could, people make arguments, Luka or Ant Edwards, like, no. And I think as a marketer, I'll ask you this question. I always think about anytime I'm marketing anything, you have your diehards, you have the people that already know who you are, but how do we reach the casual fans? How do we extend our ecosystem? And people like that, right? The Tigers, for example, brought people like you and I'm sure into golf where we weren't huge golf fans, but you know what? Let me check out the Masters and Tiger. How important is it to like be able to have someone or something in marketing that can like get you out of that circle into casual?
It's no pun intended, but it is a game changer. When you have someone who has a brand that has real household awareness, it changes the tenor of the conversation. You can go just about anywhere, and even if they're not a diehard fan, they know who it is. And 9 times out of 10, they've tuned in to watch her play. And so that's been extraordinarily helpful for us, which means that we lean into that from a marketing standpoint. You're not going to see a promo on our air where we talk about the WNBA without probably multiple shots of Caitlin in there. But, you know, I also love how she gives a lot of credit to other women in the league, those who came before her, those that she's playing with. And we like to showcase that too. I am not here for the girl drama and for like the gossip and we are here to uplift these women 100%. And the work that they're doing. And it's really nice when you have someone who stands out in that way and they lift everyone else up around them.
Can we zoom out just marketing in general? Because you and I think first met when you were at Turner and then Recount and then now at Scripps, but so much has changed and so much changes every 3 months when it comes to algorithms, but also in marketing. How has your mindset just shifted where going back to Turner, maybe when you started your career at marketing and what it is now, like what's the biggest theme or the biggest change for you?
You know, I remember when we were working together at Turner and shout out to the Turner team, that Warner Brothers Discovery team. I love them. And digital and social were still growing at that point. And it was so hard at that point to still substantiate media dollars for it. And we need to make sure that we're spending in this area.
I always said we were like in the broom closet, like the ugly stepchildren, you know.
Listen, truly. Then finally, people started to realize, oh, no, this is not next, this is now. And so I think the biggest change has been seeing how much of the marketing mix now is focused on digital and social, specifically social, because that's what helps us to move the needle. My ability to target in social is so sharp, and I love the way that video and social moves people in a way that, you know, I think because people are exposed to social so much more often than they are our regular promos, maybe on linear and traditional television, it moves the audience in a way that I could have never hoped for. And so it's pretty amazing.
Well, now too, it's like, I guess I would love to ask a question at the top of the funnel. I get asked all the time, especially with some people that just don't understand like the power of social, where you're building community, you're building credibility, you're building trust. And you've been in rooms, I guarantee, where, so why are we doing this? Yeah, we went viral, but what does that mean for tune-in? What does it mean for the bottom line? What does it mean for revenue? And now, especially in your role as GM, how do you try to educate people on the power of fandom and upper funnel? Because again, if you don't do upper funnel, then that CPM at the bottom of the funnel gets pretty pricey.
It gets pretty pricey. You know, I am fortunate that I work for a leadership team that values social. So I'm very thankful for that. It is the times are rare that I'm questioned about an investment in social. I think the most I get questions around are sometimes the investments we make in influencers. They're like, wait, you're paying how much money? And who is this person? And what? And so I think that's the next level of social. I think they've seen it pay off traditionally in how we've been using it all along. But now looking at the investments we're making in influencers, that's been a question. But then you see the returns, and then there are no more questions.
Yeah.
And so I'm very thankful for that. And I have a good relationship with our CFO, and he's like, "Okay, Keisha,
CFO is always there.
All right,
Yeah.
okay,
All right,
I get
trust
it."
you.
But he's a big sports fan.
Yep.
And so that helps tremendously.
So he even probably recognizes some of these influencers.
Of course
so,
he
yeah.
does. And
Yeah.
so that's a great benefit.
For linear TV, talk to me, because you and I have talked about, like, we got to move this rating up literally 0.1 and it changes the game. I know it's so difficult sometimes to be like, okay, David was on his couch. He scrolled and saw an amazing Caitlin Clark piece on Instagram, and it reminded him, oh, shoot, there's a game on the night, and I flip on my, that's almost impossible to track. How do you guys at Scripps specifically, like, try to figure out that math equation to see, like, we need so much attention and we know it's some of this is going to drop all the way through, right?
Yeah, I think we are really constantly looking at the data and then refining it. If you are not A/B testing in social, what are you doing? And if you are not really looking at, whatever's coming at you in terms of data from Sprout, like, we are really trying to become more just covered by the data and the numbers to make good decisions and to make sure that our creative is really reaching the audience and that they're in turn coming to watch us. And so I think we've been fortunate that we've been able to work with you all and help to continue to grow so that we can meet the needs and the changing algorithms, because without that support, David, I don't know where we would be. And so it's really great to see that growth that we've seen in social.
All right,
but it's hard. Sometimes attribution is super hard. Sometimes you're lucky, and then sometimes it's the creative did what it was supposed to do.
Well, even like as a kid, I remember growing up in Michael Jordan. I hated Wheaties. I wanted Frosted Flakes, but I had my mom buy Wheaties because of Jordan.
He was on the box.
And I would pour sugar on it. But how the hell did Wheaties know that I did that, right?
Yep.
I guess you just see overall sales uptick after Jordan is mentioned or what have you. All right, we joked that in here in France right now kind of feels like New Orleans. So I'll leave you with one more
Atlanta.
question. What are you most excited about the future of your industry that you're in, marketing, however you want to take this question? What geeks you out the most about what we're all doing?
I am still deeply excited by the creative. It's one of the reasons that I love coming to Cannes. This is our second year as a team being here on the ground, and it's just a great reminder of all the creativity. And you come away inspired, and you realize that there is still work to be done. And so that's what excites me the most, that we still get to be creative and how we can expand that creativity using technology in the future. I'm really interested to see how that plays out, but really just focusing on our love for creative and how we can continue to stand out.
I agree. Almost you meet so many people that are so creative, it almost makes you feel like imposter syndrome or like, God, maybe I'm not that creative. Maybe I don't belong in these circles, but it's definitely always inspiring. Well, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, David, I loved it.
Thanks, Keisha.
You.
Appreciate it.